Alright, hello everybody. Today I'm gonna talk about my thoughts regarding the Edge of Fate. Now I'm gonna start off that even though we've changed to this double expansion sort of model where we have two expansions every year, each cost $40, but then the seasons are free. We are still in the first week, so nothing really happened seasonal wise, but I'm just gonna say right away that I'm holding this expansion to the same level as a full-blown yearly DLC, simply because it costs the same amount of money. It costs the same amount of money as Witch Queen did. Witch Queen on launch was $40. Same was Beyond Light back in the day, so I'm gonna be holding this DLC to the same standard. Now, I'm gonna start off with probably my biggest dislike with this DLC so far. Now, I will say, we are on the first week. This is the last day of this week's reset. So, again, maybe this is gonna change. As I get leveled up, I play a little bit more, but I already feel like I've played a lot. I did not buy the expansion yet. These are my thoughts from just playing the game, just feeling the sandbox changes and everything like that. But I feel like that's already a lot still. But what is this tier system, right? In a nutshell, every new item in the game is now on this tier system. So essentially what it comes down to is you do a mission that's like one of the first missions in the game, you're gonna get like a tier 1 version. But then you do like a hoarder level and then it's like a tier 2 or something. So it's basically meant to be like, oh, you're playing the hoarder levels, so that means your tiers are gonna be better. Similar to, I guess you would say, Adept Loot, because in the past we would have, say, this sword, for example. You could get the normal version from just playing the easy version of the Nightfall, but then if you played the hard version, you could get this Adept version that would come with an extra perk, making it better, but not a requirement. But with this tier system, now, I've already played this game, I want to say, for like probably 12 hours since this DLC came out. I've just been doing my, Guardian ranks, whatever this stuff is. I got to 4, I will say, leveling without the expansion is kind of slow. Not a biggest fan of that, but I've only been getting tier 1 loot so far. I haven't seen a singular tier 2 item, which is, I think, a bit ridiculous. Because I kind of feel like I should be seeing tier 2 at this stage of the game. At least even, like, dropping. And why is that such a big deal is because, look what I got. This was one of the first weapons that I got in the expansion, right? It's this cool sword, you can do like a wave attack. It's sort of like the Heresy, the Season of Heresy sword. And, it's kind of cool, but here's the thing. I consider this to be a god roll, pretty much. I would prefer a Cold Steel on it, but I think it's still a really good roll. But the problem with this tier system is because this is a tier 1 item. It means that the perks I have on it are worse than their versions if I had a tier 2 weapon. And I kind of feel like a simple solution on this would be for me to at least be able to somehow enhance the weapon, similarly to how we have, I'm just gonna pull up an old weapon right here. But we have, like, Rufus's Fury. Like, I could just enhance this and just upgrade both of these traits. Kind of feel like this could be just a great solution, at least if it's for tier 1s. As far as like tier 4, tier 5, with those enhanced mods and like origin traits, it's like still like okay, you can keep those. But like it really sucks having this feeling of, oh, I got this really cool sword, I want to use it, but then I don't want to like commit to it because it's a worse version of the same sword, Not the biggest fan of that. But the second problem with this tier loot system is, from what I've seen, there are people who were doing the contest mode raid, right? And apparently, I saw it on stream, they would be getting like tier 1 items. Which is insane to me. I don't understand how you could give out like a tier 1 weapon from a raid. But since I haven't done the raid, I'm not gonna really speak on this much. But all I'm gonna say is, I kind of feel like Bungie is tying these tiers more so to the power level you are in the game than the actual difficulty of the content. Like, let me demonstrate here. So, I have, let's go to solo ops. Let's do the conference, right? I don't have even access, so I don't think I can even show you this, because I saw this on YouTube, by the way. Because I haven't grinded yet to even be able to show you this. But, there we go, this says it's a tier 1 drop, right? You're supposed to be getting, like, if you play a more difficult version of the mission, you're supposed to be getting, like, a tier 2 engram, so it should be, like, better. But then, like, I already played so much, and, like, I still don't have access to tier 2 drops. It's so weird. I don't like this idea of that I have to, like, that I have to level up just so that I can even earn better gear, rather than just be able to load straight into Master or something. But I kind of feel like that criticism is maybe more so to just power leveling in this game in general. I just don't like to be in this state of that I am leveling up. Like, I just don't really find this fun. Now, as far as gameplay changes go, I think the armor rework is just confusing me so much, like, you have no idea. So let's just analyze what this rework does, right? So we have 6 stats in the game, and they do 2 things. There are 2 things that each stat does. There's a base effect that happens when your stats are between 0 to 100, and then there's a secondary effect that you get when you have stats over 100. So, like, here you can see on my weapon stat, my weapons reload and handle faster, and I do damage to minor enemies, like I deal extra damage to them. But the enhanced benefit is that I get more ammo for my heavy weapon, that my heavy weapons deal more damage to, like, bosses and everything. Like, this doesn't just feel like, oh, it doesn't just feel like an enhanced, so say, like, Volt Shot. Like, the things about, like, perks enhancements is that most of the time, yeah, they're cool, they help you out a little bit, but they're not really mandatory, you know? If you don't have, like, the enhanced version of Strategist, it's like, who cares? It's like a 1% difference. But then, like, if you don't have the enhanced benefits on these armor stats, it's like, why do you even have any amount of this stat at all? Because all of the good benefits are in the, like, enhanced bracket. And what it does is it just means that you just have to overcommit your stats into a single point. Because these aren't just, like, cooldowns now, these are, like, damage stats. And I mean, I've been watching the raid on contest mode, and there's been like over a dozen of teams wiping to the final boss, like the final boss final stand, and it was like less than 1% health. Like, it's insane, because it just shows that these enhanced benefits, they really do matter. They really do matter, you know? And I know we have a question of, like, do you do weapon stats or do surges and all that, but you know, that's like gold crafting, we'll figure it out. But here's what I also really hate. So, I don't think I can, I don't know if I can show you this on my Titan. Maybe on Sol Invictus. But essentially, these stats, they don't just reduce your cooldowns. Like right here on my grenade stat, it says it reduces my cooldown, but what it also does is it improves the amount of energy that I get from things like Demolitionist. I'm gonna see if I have something with... Yeah, I do have, right here. I have my, this is my build with my stasis build, right? Here's my question. Isn't it kind of dumb that you need to max out your grenade stat? Maybe not even max out, but that you have to build into your grenade stat so that perks like Demolitionist make sense. Because to me, I always view these perks as like right here, they help me out with grenades. Like this is a very grenade spam heavy build. So I really like having this Demolitionist here, even though I don't necessarily need it. I mostly use this to just break stasis crystals. But I always view these perks as like, okay, what if my entire build focuses on melee, right? But then I also want to have some way of getting my grenade back. So like, I could compensate having, say, a low melee stat by having a weapon that gives me melee energy. So like Monte Carlo right here, right? Let's say I really want to get lots of melees with this build, but then my melee stat is really low because I need grenades too. So what I'm gonna do, I think, is I'm just gonna put a Monte Carlo and have that compensate my lack of stats. But now, it feels like you cannot do that because if you really want that melee stat, then maybe you should build into the melee stat, but then you also want to like overcommit on the grenade stat because it gives you just higher damage, so I don't know how to feel about that. This is something I'm really conflicted about. Now, I will say, I will pull up a tweet here. Let me get ready here. I will pull up a tweet, this tweet right here from Destiny 2 team, that this is being investigated, being worked on, because apparently these numbers, they're the wrong numbers. So I just want to clarify that this possibly is just a bug. This whole thing I'm talking about is maybe just a bug. Maybe once they like figure this out, maybe it's gonna feel better. But as of right now, I'm gonna tell you what I'm running. This is the build that I'm running. Arc Titan Barricade, And I will say, just from playing, I feel like my melee and my grenade are recharging significantly slower. Like, it's insane. Like, I no longer even want to, like, use my melee. Like, my grenade is still, like, even though it's 30, the thing is that a lot of this gets also compensated by when I play the Portal. There's this stupid modifier that gives me, like, extra melee. So, like, I don't feel it as much. Like, down here, there's Brawler and there's Grenadier. I've just been using these two. But whenever I don't have them, it's just like I don't even want to use my abilities. I just do this, and I just, do this thing with Thunderlord. Like, I just kind of feel like cooldowns feel a little off. But, like, here's the thing where they feel the most off is in this build. I already changed this build a little bit. I wanted this to be my pre-DLC build, so like with all the old armor, but it seems like I've already changed these. But like, okay, let me just show you. This is Heart of Inmost Light. All I have is my class ability, really. Just like look at my cooldowns. I'm gonna do a punch, I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna do that. Like, I don't know, it's just... It just feels Like, I think I should have my grenade by now. Like, I don't know. Just like, I don't... I should be casting my class ability again, you know? Like, why do I not have my class ability yet? Like, this is Horde of Inmost Light right here. This is like the build this is like the build that this feels just horrible on. Because really, before the changes, I could without a problem just do something like this and have my grenade. Like I would like already have it. Now I kind of do, but then like I do this, and then it's like I sit without my abilities. And like look at where my abilities are. That is insane. Because you can go back on my like live streams or YouTube videos where I use this build. I could pretty much just use my abilities whenever, you know, whenever I felt like it. But here we are. I'm not even able to like use this stuff. It's insane how much these stats changes got like nerfed. Because like previously I would have 100 grenade, I would have 100 resilience, and I would have like I want to say like 30 strength. Right? But then like most of my cooldowns didn't come from my stats, they came from Heart of Inmost Light. But now I'm using just Heart of Inmost, and it feels like it does something, but like not enough to make it feel like Heart of Inmost. It's I don't know. Now, another thing I don't like, you can't see it in this shooting range, but in the portal, they added, like, surges, for example. There's this new modifier that makes, like, a random surge bonus every 30 seconds. The problem I have with it is that it shows up on the right side of the screen. I really don't like that. It's, this one shows over there. Then there's, this one shows up as well. Oh yeah, yeah, these three. These show up on the right side of the screen. I might actually, like, load up. I really don't like that they show up on the right side. It's so, like, there's too much UI. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm getting? It's like, if you want to just tell me that this buff exists, it's like, okay. Because, like, previously we'd have, like, surges, for example. And surges would just, like, oh yeah, this activity has, you have, like, 25% extra solar damage. But, like, because that was persistent throughout the whole activity, you would only have that, like, when you pull out your ghost. Like, you see the arc focus on the right. Oh, you can't. Okay, wait, hold up. See this arc focus on the right side? This is, like, too much UI for me. Just like, there's freaking... Because now we have, like, UI on the right side, on the left side, there's UI down here, up here. It's just like, brother, I just want to look at my crosshair, and, like, that's enough for me. You know? When I look at my crosshair, I want to look where my quest is, and I want to look down here where my abilities are. And my health. Like, I already got 4 points that I'm looking at. Now you have one on the right side, far from all of those. It's just too much. I'm not a fan. I do understand that some people, you know, like this change, so I would love to see this as a toggle. But like, man, it's just too much. It's just too much. Another thing I don't like, speaking of the armor stats. Here's the PvP build I've been running. This build has 33 super. Just like, you know, just... It has something. Ever since this expansion dropped, I have not gotten a single super in a Crucible match. That's insane. Like, I think I should be getting more. Like, I think I should be getting a single super. at the very least. Because what this does is there's a person on the enemy team that has the super stat. They have like 70 or something, and they get to use their super. And because supers in this game are heavily unbalanced, as in if someone comes charging at you with a super and you don't have one, or you don't have some specific ability like suppressor grenade, like you cannot really do much about that. Unless you're like far from them, and then you can do some counterplay. But this just not fun in PvP. Not fun. I like not getting my super if that means that my enemies also don't get a super, because I don't think super should be a thing in PvP, but that's a topic, that's a discussion for another topic, for another time, but yeah. Another thing that's been confusing me is Bungie's decision to remove vendor progression ranks. Now, I do understand that, hey, maybe they don't fit with this portal system and everything, but I just want to say, I really like them. Like the progression ranks were like the top 5, top 3, maybe even top 1 change in like the history of me playing this game. I know it sounds kind of dumb, but like I like them. I like going to Rahul, seeing those like ranks go up. But like okay, Zavala and Shaxx, okay, those make sense because their loot is now like portal loot. But like Rahul, he would give you materials to help you level up stuff. He would give you like exotic ciphers, which that's pretty important, especially for new players. Like there's nothing here. You can, the only thing you can do is you can like buy like tier 1 drops from doing like the seasonal challenges or something. It's like you can buy like I don't know like 2. I think I bought like 2 from these, but like these are all like tier 1 items. It's like, did we really just get rid of the whole rank progression just for Zavala to sell tier 1 items? Like, why? I don't understand. And like, the Saint doesn't have ranks, but we will wait still because Trials of Osiris isn't out yet, so maybe that will change. But you go to Xur. Xur doesn't have progression ranks either. Drifter doesn't have progression ranks either, and this season Gambit isn't even like in the portal, so. But like, okay, we can ignore Gambit, but like, you would get ciphers from here. You would get exotic engrams. Like, these were very important sources for like engrams and stuff. Like, you remember, you used to get exotic engrams from just from right here, from doing like the Vanguard Dogs playlist, but now you don't, because like I've only gotten 1 exotic engram since this DLC dropped. I'm pretty sure. These are all like I opened all of the like to make space and stuff, but I really only got 1. I'm pretty sure. Honestly, maybe like 2 or 3, but like I will say maybe 2. I'd say maybe 2. But really, I just remember this one. And comparing it to how it was before, like, I don't know, man, like, before, sure, we were, like, getting way more exotic engrams, now we, have this whole armor. I really like the armor changes with this whole, like, oh, this is, okay. With this whole, like, oh, this is, like, a specialist armor set and all that. Really good changes here, really good, big thumbs up. But I kind of feel like we just lost a lot of exotic sources. Which, again, you will probably not need as many drops, since, armor is way more, like, deterministic. But it's also like, hey, we just lost, like, a lot of exotic sources, so I don't know if that's, like, that leveled things up enough. Like, make things even, but, you know. But I will say this. I will move on to leveling, my leveling experience. I've never been a fan of leveling in this game. I always found it a thing that's mandatory, not fun, and this is just such a pain point for me because I don't want to be in the stage of the game where I'm doing strikes for like 20 hours, only for me to then be able to do the stuff that I actually enjoy. But with the portal system, you know, we get a lot of missions. Some missions get like a bonus drop. This is bugged. It's kind of annoying that even though this, I'm gonna say this right here, my criticism about the portal. Even though I cannot play this playlist, I still get bonus drops for it from completing activities. Like, when you complete a mission, there's a chance that it's gonna be like, oh hey, because you completed a solo mission, that means we're gonna give you an extra drop if you play the different activity, like a Crucible op. Like, okay, but then because I cannot play this, but I'm getting like bonus drops on it, it's like, it's like, why? You know? It doesn't really make sense. I like this whole like select your mission sort of thing, but you look into LFG, and it's like Empire Hunt, the Technocrat. I cannot choose if I want this to be normal level, if I want this to be advanced, master, legend, or whatever. I can only be like, oh yeah, I want to do the Technocrat. Then what happens is someone joins who's higher level than me, sees that I'm running the normal version, and they leave in the beginning of the mission because they're like, oh wait, this is too low level. I'm not gonna get my tier 5 drops or whatever. Like I don't know. I don't know why these people leave. But like you have the quick play options, and we have, I want to say 3, 9, 3, 9, 12, you have like 13 options down here, right? Or am I just bad at math? 9, 12, 13. 13 LOG options, because these don't have matchmaking. These do not have matchmaking. I was under the impression that if you click Devil's Lair, it would have a matchmaking, and it would be like, oh, if you're playing, like, here's base, normal, base, advanced. If you choose, like, the base, normal, base, advanced with, like, preset modifiers, we're gonna have matchmaking. But if you switch them, then they're gonna be non-matchmake, but that's not the case. None of these have matchmaking, you have to go for Fire King Finder. If you want matchmaking, it's just these two. Pinnacle Ops, we're gonna get to Pinnacle Ops in a minute, don't worry. Encore, I got you. But yeah, let's move on. Seasonal Pass. These battle passes in this game. I don't like any of these changes. Ever since the final shape, Bungie's been working more towards extra FOMO, extra grind, extra everything. This is why I didn't hit rank 200 on Revenant. Even though it says right here I hit 200, I didn't hit 200 because this entire thing was bugged. And I couldn't claim my things from the Battle Pass when it was free for a week. But okay. Let's go back to what I don't like about this. This season is like 60 days. It's like less than 60 days. Now, correct me if I'm wrong here, but we're gonna have four battle passes this year, right? And I'm just talking about this reward rank. I don't care about like season, whatever. Battle passes, right? The thing you're seeing right here, the Fortnite, right? The Fortnite 100 ranks. Come on, everybody knows this. We're gonna have 4 battle passes. This one is 60 days. Assuming the rest are going to be like similar day count, that means we're gonna have a battle pass active for 240 days, leaving 120 days of this year without a battle pass. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think a year has 240 days in it. What I'm doing right now is I'm calling this on Fear of Missing Out and on Bungie trying to make people spend more money on this game. I don't like this. You want to have 4 seasons a year, or like 4 battle passes, whatever? Just have them each be 90 days. These things expired. they become removed from the game anyway. Like, chillax. This isn't 100 ranks, by the way. This is 150. Even though it goes up to 110, these last ranks, you need 5 ranks to level up. You can see these 5 little segments. Each segment is worth like 1 rank over here. So, we have 150 levels for 60 days. No. No. I'm not a fan. Especially because, like, there are still, like, exclusive rewards here, right? These aren't just, like, oh, just resources. No, you get skins here. This is, like, if you buy the Battle Pass, I feel like they should do what Halo Infinite does, is if you buy the Battle Pass, you just own it and you can level it up at any time. If they want to pull this extra 50 ranks so you get this skin, then make them permanent. Otherwise, just go back to 190 days. Not a fan, because do you know what this is? This is just making people play every day, so they make sure to not, because people are gonna, stress out that, oh, I'm gonna miss out on these rewards as you play the game. Bungie. At the very least, I'm asking that this season or whatever, this Battle Pass is gonna be available for 90 days. Unless why is this one 60 days? It's not even 60 days. It's been like 6 days since the DLC. It's like 55 days or whatever. 56. It's like but the freaking Destiny week is different. It starts on Tuesday and everything. If you we should be midway through a season. This is week 1. Like, this is not no. If there's gonna be a time where I'm gonna tell Bungie to chill out with the milking of players, it's gonna be this. It's not even like the double DLC. It's like, okay, seasons are free, okay. There are gonna be no more dungeon keys, okay, whatever. But, like, chill. This is the one part you're going too far. Not a fan. Okay, I got some remaining stuff here left. I'm just gonna show you this. They already acknowledged it, so I just would like more focus on this world tab. Now, I will say, they've already acknowledged this. So I'm not gonna talk about it too much, but I'll just give you my 2 cents here. This is still the most important screen of the game. There's I want to say 70% of this game is inaccessible through the portal. Like 70%. So Bungie needs to figure out how to still focus on this screen, because this is still the most important screen of the game. I haven't used it since this DLC came out because I've been grinding levels in the portal. But still, this is where raids are, where dungeons are, where Gambit is. Like, how are you gonna get your freaking Pink's Fall without going to this screen? I'm just kind of, as a new player, right? You launch the game, you go into this portal screen. How do you know that you can do the Shadow Keep? How do you know that you can do the Shadow Keep campaign for free? You don't even have milestones on this screen. Unless I'm missing milestones. But, I haven't seen milestones since this DLC came out. Also, a little thing. You cannot launch into the destination as a free-to-play player. I know that this whole destination is a lot different and that previously in Beyond Light, but Bungie would lock some areas behind the campaign completion so free-to-play players couldn't go anywhere. But I'm just kind of in every previous DLC, if you didn't buy the DLC, you could at least load into the area, even with, Final Shape, you would only go up, you could only load up into, the Destiny 1 tab, right? You couldn't go down. But, let me at least load up in the Kepler and at least look for what it's like, and not just for the first level, Now, I think we're gonna move on to, I'm gonna move on to the raid race. I did not participate in the raid race. I'm simply discussing this as a viewer. But I feel like this year's raid race hasn't been handled how I would like it. I just let me switch here. So, um, other than all of these bugs and everything, you know, what is my problem with this year's raid race? Let me go here. I'm just gonna load into the firing range. This year I have a problem, and that is, I think this raid race happened too quickly. I believe it happened so that the Steam charts will look good. If you actually look in the peak of the player count, you can actually see that the raid, like when the raid came out, there were actually more players active than when the DLC dropped. I believe that they released this raid so early so that the Steam charts would look good. But why is the raid coming out so early a problem? First of all, how is it even early? So in Destiny, we would have like the first week we would have 10 days before a raid drop, right? We would have like first week people get through the campaign, you know, figure out the DLC, figure out the new loot, figure out the new mechanics. Like Witch Queen, people figure out crafting, people figure out, you know, whatever the new exotics are, well, what's like the meta and everything. It gives people time to prepare some sort of loadouts, like what's like the Void 3.0, what's like synergies and everything. But because this raid came out within 3 days of the expansion, that means that all of the preparation had to be done before the expansion dropped. Now, this is true, obviously, with every previous raid. You know, players would have to get like every single subclass, every single exotic, some god rolls, and everything that they would use in the raid. And like, you know, that's fair, that's fair. But I kind of feel like with such a massive rework that is armor with all of these stats that directly change how much damage you deal, I kind of feel like maybe we should have not shortened the amount of time that people get prepared. Especially with how the loot works. Let me go back here into the tweets. And I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna go click on this. Encore. Let's talk about Encore. Why is Encore such a hot discussion right now? Basically, here's the story what happened. I'm gonna change back the game. When this DLC came out, people were obviously curious how do you get to the max power level so that you get the best loot. Because in order to get tier 5, tier 4s, you need to be high on the power level to even be able to launch into these missions, right? So, because your power level is directly connected to the quality of the loot that you get from the game, that means that a person with a higher power will get better loot and will be better prepared for the raid, right? I think that makes sense. Especially since, you know, we got like this new rocket assistance frame, like, what if this was like the most broken gun, you know? What if like somebody getting this enhanced and everything, tier 5, if that would be like a thing in a raid. But like, guns, you know, guns we pretty much got figured out, guns don't really matter. But like, armor with all of these stats, like, with these armor perks, like the Bushido armor set that gives you healing and damage resist, like, that's really significant. And I kind of feel like you probably want to give people some time to be able to, you know, grind this up. But in a nutshell, what happened is, what people would do is people figured out that if you went to the portal, you played the Pinnacle Ops, and you did Encore, and this would say 4, now it's free, but it would say 4 completion rewards. And you could do it with a modifier that, by the way, Bungie heavily marketed in their live streams, Vidocs, and everything. It would be right here. It's gone now. But it's like the modifier. You get like triple grapples, but you cannot do the grapple melee. But your grapples, they also instantly recharge. It's like such a cool modifier. But here's the thing. Bungie anticipates that this mission takes 40 minutes. So they're like, okay, for every 10 minutes you get a reward. What happened was, well, actually, this mission is like 15 minutes because if you're just speeding through it, you can do this in like 10 minutes. And they would just rain people with loot. But what that would mean is you would have players who just grinded this mission to level 300 so that they could get the better drops. They could get the new armor perks with like there's like the kinetic armor set that like gives you extra shield damage on kinetic weapons, but they're just like this one, like damage resistance because you're using a bow. Or a shotgun or a sword. Very simple things. But because the raid comes out in 3 days, that means you have to do this as quickly as possible. So that like everybody went through like the legendary campaign and you have the super dedicated players doing all the power grind, and then Bungie's like, okay, we're gonna remove Encore for like a couple of hours. And then they like reintroduce it with like without the grapple modifier and with a little bit less loot. But because you already have those players who grind it so much, then there are those who didn't want to abuse it because, like, this is the new DLC. You probably want to play the new expansion, you know? Maybe don't want to rush things out a little bit. Just as a viewer, it seemed like it was a bit unfair for some teams that maybe didn't, like, over-level so much, you know? Like, I don't know. Like, just not, no. Just not a fan. I kind of feel like that was a misstep by Bungie. Because here's the thing. If you want to, I do believe that the same thing would happen if the raid was in 10 days. But if we had the regular launch date of 10 days, right? I'm pretty sure it's been 10 days, but if you would have the raid come out in the second week, this wouldn't be a problem at all. Even if on the Encore grind, even like the same things happen, right? Even if the same things happen, if oh my god, Encore comes out, it gives tons of loot, Bungie nerfs it, like because they figured it out quite quickly, but there would be like still like 7 days to prepare. People wouldn't go like, oh my god, what am I gonna do now? It's just like, okay, I'm just gonna grind something else. People got a head start, but there's still like 7 days until the raid comes out. So like, there's no pressure, you know? They can just take things kind of slowly. But because there's been only 3 days, it's kind of like, okay, didn't you do the Encore grind when it was like the meta? You didn't get as many like tiers on weapons, so like you had a more difficult time getting the loot that you wanted because you couldn't do the higher level versions because you didn't have enough power. So your new drops potentially could be really good in a raid. The rate at which you got the drops was now worse than for other players. Like, I believe this wouldn't be an issue if the raid would come out in 10 days. Overall, here are my final thoughts on this update. I feel like this update just... the way it feels is like Bungie's like, okay, if we make a longer grind with more levels, it means more content. Like, that's how I believe Bungie thought of this DLC, because yay, there's more power levels, and, like, most of your levels will now reset, or, like, whatever, you know? But because there's so many levels now, it's like, yay, I have to go for, like, 40 hours to even be able to fully experience these new drops, whereas, like, you could just, like, you know, wait for Grandmasters to come out. You know, grind up levels for Grandmasters, but then, like, you know, you had Fireteam power sharing, so, like, let's say I would grind up, but, like, one of my Fireteam wouldn't, like, they would still be able to get adept drops, but now it's like, hey, you cannot even get the tier 5 versions unless you're, like, max power, which I think is a bit silly. It's kind of an oversight, because it's like, yes, I'm gonna play this game more because there are more levels, but that doesn't mean it's gonna be more fun. In fact, what it's gonna mean is that it's like, I'm gonna be playing it, but it's not gonna be as fun as if it was a shorter experience, you know? Adding extra levels doesn't mean you're adding extra content, Bungie. What it just means is that there's the time when I'm annoyed that I have to play this part of the game, and so the stuff that I actually want to play is just lengthened, and that's just pissing me off. You know? And like they also talk about this whole, oh, you're gonna get the loot that you should be getting, even if you're like load into a master version of like a strike because one of your friends is max level. But then you're gonna load in with them, but instead of getting a tier 5, we're still gonna get like a tier 2. But I think that's stupid because in that particular mission, you could say put in the same effort as your teammate, because it's not the levels that actually beat the level for you, but it was actually your gameplay inputs, you know? Your actual game knowledge, gameplay, and everything. Like, tying this tier system to your power level, in my opinion, is just a huge misstep by Bungie. So those are my thoughts regarding Edge of Fate so far. I will say this game is still really fun to play, but I just don't like this feeling of me just having to grind extra stuff. If I'm not gonna end it right here, you know, I'm gonna be freaking ranting for like the next 10 minutes. But yeah. It does feel a little weird how Bungie, like, what about weapons that don't have this tier system, you know? What if you go back to, say, farm Vesper's house, you know? Like, you don't have this tier system there at all. This kind of feels weird having these different systems. But alright, whatever, I'm getting sidetracked. Thank you for watching. Smash that like button. Maybe subscribe or something. You guys have a good one.